Here are your score charts after 4 series of starts. Champions of today, Chris Holder and Andreas Jonsson, definite leaders of their team, and for glorious past, Mitch Shira, surprisingly good performance, and of course the Professor Hans Nielsen. Now we move on to the heat number 12. We draw the racing cars. I have 5, as you remember, these ones, and let's see what's going on in the entire match. We have completed the 4 series of starts, and now the riders will be starting depending on the total number of points they got. So in the heat number 13 we have the riders with their lowest total in their teams. In this case it's Nicky Pedersen and Tomasz Golob for the home team, and Jimmy Nielsen and Armando Castagna for the visitors. Well, I don't fancy my riders. I don't fancy my riders' chances in this heat, and since I have lots of attacking cards, I'd better start not so fast. This will be Jimmy Nielsen, and let's say this will be Castagna, as 4-2 for my opponent would be ideal option, since I would be able to attack in both cases. And yes, it is 4-2. Castagna moves into the second place. Then this is Golob and this is Jimmy Nielsen. First lap, and this is not what I was hoping for, since this is battle in the band. Maybe it's not that bad. We will see what happens in this case. My opponent Nicky Pedersen wants to shoot forward and leave the others behind. I will respond to that with tactical master stroke, which will enable to steal one card from my opponent's hand. My opponent responds to that with fall. Luckily, since I don't have the same color, but I have the same effect, and I may respond to that with the fall effect by me. So
pass.
My opponent passes, and I can choose a rider who will be in danger of falling, and again I'm choosing Nicky Pedersen. Something's definitely not right today with him. We see what happens, and it's battle in the band again. In case of combination of fall and battle in the band, the rider drops to 4th place. So again, something's wrong with Nicky. He drops to the last place. I move on to 4-2 position, surprisingly, since I didn't expect Castagna and Nielsen to get a result here, and I may start another battle in the band. In this case, I will go for this overtaking maneuver, which, if it holds, will help me to move Jimmy Nielsen 1 position forward. Unfortunately, my opponent has the same effect. She has changed the color as well, so I have not the same color nor the effect, and I must accept that. The situation turned in my opponent's favor, so she can advance one of her opponents forward. It is Nicky Pedersen who comes back to the 3rd place, and again it's battle in the band, and again I may start. So this time I will try to move back into 4-2 position.
Pass.
My opponent passes, and Nicky Pedersen, fighting valiantly with Jimmy Nielsen, drops again to the 4th place, and we enter the final lap, and it is battle in the straight. This is my last card, and my opponent attacks me. In this case it's Tomasz Golob who attacks Armando Castagna with his card. As you can see, I have no green cards, I cannot defend. Armando Castagna drops to 2nd, overtaken by Tomasz Golob in the final straight. Now it's time for Nielsen, who must defend from attack by Pedersen. My opponent gets free racing card, and my opponent passes, luckily, since I wouldn't be able to hold off Pedersen's attack. So Jimmy Nielsen and Armando Castagna somehow managed to bring 3 points for my team, and it's 3-3, end of heat number 13. Before the penultimate heat, I'm still trailing by 2 points, and in the heat number 14 we will again have duel between Hancock and Ermolenko. At this point is 1-1. And apart from that, duel of Englishmen, Harris against Doncaster. We draw the racing cards, and we have quite interesting situation on our hands, since there in this deck there are 3 finish lines. So far we've had just 2, so one of these cards will be finish line, which will end the race right after the first lap. So this is now all about good timing. This will be Ermolenko and this will be Doncaster. This is Harris and this is Hancock. So 2 Americans in the first 2 places, then we have Doncaster, and then we have Harris. Let's check what happens in the first lap, and this is the finish line. So we know that in the last heat this will definitely not be the finish line. It's 4-2 and we have a draw in the entire match. In the penultimate heat we had finish line in the first lap, so now again both players can replace as many cards from their hands as they wish. This is quite important before the last heat we are drawing. As you can see, I have pretty strong defensive cards. I don't want to get rid of them. What's more, I have 2 pairs of colors, which I also don't want to get rid of, since in case of battle in the band I will be able to take part in long exchange. So I will stay with those cards, and let's see what's going on in the match. We have 42-42 draw, and in the final heat we will have Holder Jonsson riding against Nielsen and Shira. Holder and Jonsson are already waiting. This is Nielsen, this is Shira. So surprisingly poor from Nielsen and surprisingly good from Shira. This is 3-3. We right into the first lap, and this is battle in the straight. As I already told you, I have quite powerful cards to defend against my opponent's charges. This is Shira defending from Holder, and Holder, despite my powerful defense, managed to ride along one of the lanes which weren't blocked. My opponent gets free racing card, and now it's time for Jonsson to try and do the same with Shira. Again, powerful defensive cards. This time Shira managed to hold off Jonsson's attack. I get a free racing card this time, and it's Nielsen who is charging Jonsson. This is lane C, and the professor successfully charged along lane C. He moves into the 3rd position. I get free racing card. We have 3-3 in the heat, draw in the match, and we see what happens in the next lap. This is battle in the band. So my opponent starts, it's Chris Holder, who is trying to shoot forward far out of the opponent's reach. I will of course not let that happen, and I will try to steal card from my opponent's hand. My opponent responds to that with not with the same color but with the same effect. Now she wants to steal one of my cards, which of course I cannot allow to happen. That's why I will respond with engine failure.
Pass.
My opponent passes, and we witness some mechanical trouble in Holder's bike, and depending now on the next lap card we will see what happens. The team manager's card will give us the result. It is battle in the straight. If it is battle in the straight with the engine failure, the rider now cannot play racing card during this battle in the straight. So if anyone tries to overtake him and uses the red attacking card, he will instantly do it. You can see that I have attacking card. Shira charges Holder, who is having some trouble with his bike. I get free racing card for this successful attack, and now it's time for Nielsen to do the same. Of course the professor takes advantage of this precarious situation of Holder and charges along lanes A and D. Holder drops further to third place. It's 5-1 for me, and if the heat finishes right now, Glorious Past will win the entire match. And yes, indeed, it is the finish line. 5-1 in the heat. The Glorious Past is victorious by 47 to 43. End of the last heat. Here are your score charts after the final heat. Today's losers, champions of today. Chris Holder, 10 points. Despite this engine failure in the last heat, he still managed to get double digits. Very disappointing from Nicky Pedersen. He finished disastrously with fall and 0. Apart from that, quite consistent. As for our today's winners, Glorious Past, surprisingly good from Mitch Shira, and not so surprisingly good from Hans Nielsen. Apart from that, Armando Castagna, he scored 6 points in this compound, and this is quite a feat. And the rest of the team, well, Jeremy Doncaster, Jimmy Nielsen, 5 points each, and Samer Molenko, 8 points. And this is it for today. Find us on www.mcsgra.com or also on Facebook on Moto-Craze Speedway. I hope you enjoyed watching the game. See you next time and have fun!